Title: The Bullet That Never Landed. November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas. The air was crisp, the sun beaming down on the convertible limousine as President John F. Kennedy waved to the cheering crowds. The motorcade rolled through Dealey Plaza, a moment cemented in history, but fate had decided to play a different hand that day. Lee Harvey Oswald, perched on the sixth floor of the Texas School Book Depository, aimed his Carcano rifle. He had a clear shot. He steadied his breathing. His finger squeezed the trigger, but as he fired, a sudden gust of wind rattled the building, shifting the rifle slightly. The bullet missed Kennedy by mere inches, instead shattering the windshield of a nearby police motorcycle. Pandemonium erupted as the motorcade sped off, the president unharmed but shaken. Oswald, realizing his failure, fled the building in panic. The police, swarming the area, apprehended him within the hour. The assassination attempt was thwarted, but its consequences would ripple through history in ways no one could have imagined. The aftermath: a nation transformed. The failed attempt on Kennedy's life stunned the world. The American people, gripped by the near tragedy, rallied around their president like never before. The Cold War, civil rights movement, and space race took on new urgency. Kennedy, now more determined than ever, addressed the nation the following evening. "We stand today not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans, united against the forces that seek to divide us. The bullet that was meant to silence me has only strengthened my resolve." His approval ratings soared. The assassination attempt fueled public support for his policies. The Civil Rights Act, which had been facing resistance, passed in early 1964 with overwhelming bipartisan support. Martin Luther King Jr. and Kennedy formed a stronger alliance, hastening the end of segregation. The Voting Rights Act followed soon after, transforming the American political landscape for decades. The Kennedy Doctrine: a different Vietnam. Having survived an assassination attempt, Kennedy reevaluated his foreign policy stance. Behind closed doors, he held deep reservations about American involvement in Vietnam. The failed attempt on his life reinforced his belief that proxy wars would only weaken the United States. In 1964, instead of escalating military presence in Vietnam, he initiated a phased withdrawal. "America will support those who seek freedom, but we will not send our sons to fight in a war that is not ours to win," he declared in a landmark speech. This decision outraged the military-industrial complex and hawkish politicians, but it spared the U.S. from a decade-long quagmire. Without the Vietnam War, the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s took a different turn. The anti-war protests that defined a generation never reached their peak, leading to a less divided America in the years to come. A space race victory, the first man on Mars? With Vietnam no longer draining U.S. resources, Kennedy redirected national focus to the space race. The Apollo program received unprecedented funding. By 1969, the U.S. not only landed on the moon, but set ambitious plans to reach Mars by the late 1970s. Kennedy's vision of "not because it is easy, but because it is hard" took on new life. The Soviet Union, unable to keep pace, fell behind. The Cold War dynamic shifted. Instead of a war of attrition, the U.S. and USSR engaged in a battle of scientific achievement, reducing global tensions. The ripple effect: a different America. By 1968, Kennedy had completed 2 successful terms. His younger brother, Robert F. Kennedy, emerged as a strong presidential candidate, promising to continue JFK's policies. Without the Vietnam War overshadowing his campaign, Robert easily won the presidency, further cementing the Kennedy legacy. The social upheaval of the late 60s was less chaotic. Without Vietnam, protests against government corruption were fewer, and figures like Martin Luther King Jr. remained influential for longer, leading to an America where racial tensions were eased far earlier than in our timeline. By the 1980s, America had not only avoided Vietnam, but also positioned itself as the leader of global peace initiatives. The Cold War ended earlier, the Soviet Union crumbling under economic strain without the constant arms race. A different present. The world today. In this alternate timeline, the world of 2024 is vastly different. America's continued technological advancements placed humans on Mars in the late 1980s, leading to the first permanent colony by the early 2000s. The civil rights movement achieved its goals faster, eliminating systemic racial inequalities much earlier. Without Vietnam, trust in government institutions remained intact, and social division never reached the extremes of our reality. The Soviet Union, unable to keep up with America's rapid advancements,